Hello and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren and today I'm going to be checking out the Fat Electrician. Again, this time I'm doing his video on bat bombs. We talked about some of the other kinds of animals that they tried to use, so I'm looking forward to this bat bomb video. Before I get going though, Sol Alexander, it's not January anymore. Time to do a shot. Ready? Cheers. I usually would not do a shot with 4 roses, but that's all I have right now. This stuff is super tasty. I really like it. It's currently all I have, as usually I would not waste it on a shot because it's too good for that. But I do have a little bit more here. This I have used my whiskey smoker. It was very exciting. But hey, it's been a while since I've done a shot with you, Sol, so there you go. Now we've done one together. I'm excited to get into the Fat Electrician's bat bombs. Oh boy. It's gonna have something to do with sonar or something, isn't it? Because they want the bats to use the sonar. Something.
Today we're talking about the only animal-based weapon of mass destruction ever conceived. Ladies and gentlemen, America's bat bomb.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
As many of you are probably aware, at the end of World War II, America was looking for a new super weapon that could prematurely end the war. Option A was always the atomic bomb. Option B was, well, that was also the atomic bomb. But option C involved 1 million free-tailed Mexican bats and napalm. No, I'm not making this up. I read the entire book to get ready for this video. Okay, here's the deal. It's not really a bomb. It's a giant bird cage that looks like a bomb, and inside of each one of these cages...
Oh my god! They even did... They have a little Adam West Batman. That's amazing.
Was 1,040 free-tailed Mexican bats that had a napalm incendiary device super glued to their chest that was rigged to go off with a timer. The idea was to do a bombing run at dawn, releasing a bunch of these canisters. After being released, they would travel down several thousand feet before deploying a parachute. This would both slow down the cage and open it so all the bats could fly away. And because they were doing this bombing run at dawn, all the bats would immediately try to find somewhere to roost for the day so they could go to bed. And since they're bats, that's always going to be some dark, hard-to-reach nook or cranny like an attic, and given that Japan was made pretty much exclusively out of wood and paper at that point in time, presented an enormous issue in 2 hours when those bats would burst into flames and presumably light an entire city on fire. Bah! Does this hurt the bat? Bah!
Yeah!
Yes, this hurts the bat, okay? Just don't tell PETA. I don't need them coming after me with their frail, anemic wrath. I mean, realistically, they're gonna find this video anyways, because one of them's gonna be Googling bath bombs. Google's gonna be like, oh, did you mean bat bombs? And they watch my video. Now it's demonetized, so we're gonna have to have a sponsor. Ladies and...
Alright, I mean... Poor bats. I hate that all of these, like, do involve just killing animals. It's like, come on, really? What did the animals ever do to you? We had a bat. This is sorry, Mom, I'm telling this story, but we did kill one once by accident. We're still not entirely sure how, but like we think that it had gotten itself caught at some point right before they lit a fire. So like we found it like the next day after the fire had and the fireplace had gone on. It was just like on the grate and it was like immolated. Like, so I don't know if it was there the whole time they, you know, I don't know if they lit it on. I do not know exactly what happened, but it was very dead. But my mom was freaking out. She was so, so me and my dad and my brother are trying to figure out how to get the bat off of the grate. And she's like, don't open the grate. What are you doing? It's like, it's dead. You know, she's panicking. We're trying to get it off and like, so we could just like dispose of the poor thing. And it did not work. She was terrified. It was dead. It was very sad. Another time a bat got into our house right before we were going on vacation and was like flying around in the basement. And she was again like not pleased. I remember sitting on the basement step, like glasses off, just kind of like squinting, watching her like panic. 'Twas funny. For me, because I was not afraid of the bat. My dad always just tries not to laugh at these things. but fails miserably. What kind of weird creatures have gotten into your house that shouldn't have been there? And did you freak out, or did you remain calm, or did you laugh at the person freaking out? Because I usually chose option 3, you know, but I'm also the person who, like, would get called to take care of any bugs that got into the house, too. If my dad was at work, I was the one who would have to remove them from the premises. That was my job. But anyway, the point being, very sad that the bats have to die. Tear. Sorry, PETA. Except for I'm not sorry to PETA, because PETA can suck it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this video is brought to you by JX Tactical, makers of my personal favorite holster, their trademarked Fat Guy holster. It allows you to carry a fire. This is a madman. Anyways, back to these bat bombs. Now, I think we can all agree that this idea
if you want to see that and like his ads and stuff, you can go and absolutely check out his channel and watch it on his video. I'm sure it's linked in his description below. His video is going to be linked in our description below, but this is also an older video, so I don't know that the code is going to work anyway.
Fucking stupid that it's genius, so who is the madman that came up with it? Ladies and gentlemen, a dentist and part-time inventor from Pennsylvania by the name of Lytle S.
What's with the
Adams.
dentists? Like him and the guy who killed Cecil the lion. It's like these dentists wanting to destroy animals for like no reason.
Man whose other inventions included a fried chicken vending machine and a way to pick up mail by plane without having to land the plane. So clearly, things are starting to add up. In January of 1942, he would write a letter
like the
to
idea
White
of a
House.
fried
And let me
chicken
tell
vending
ya,
machine.
It is one of the letters of all time.
Ooh, I cannot wait to hear this. But like, speaking of a fried chicken vending machine, I want one. I think that's fantastic. I mean, it seems real dangerous and like things would go bad pretty quickly. But the idea is fun in you know, passing. I feel like some of the... You can get fried chicken from like weirdly good, like really weirdly good fried chicken from really bizarre sources. I think Royal Farms has some of the best fried chicken I've ever had, and I'm like, this is a glorified gas station. How is the fried chicken so good? But it's always delicious.
It opens up pretty strong with, and I quote, "Shall the sun set quickly over the land of the rising sun, with a dawn visit at a convenient time in an appropriate way." He then goes on to, in detail, explain that bats are the lowest form of life in the animal kingdom, and that he is thoroughly convinced that they were placed on Earth by God to help America win World War II with a bat bomb. So...
how are bats worse than mosquitoes? Mosquitoes have got to be the lowest frickin' life form. I mean, I guess there's like germs and stuff that I guess technically count as alive. But come on. Really? Bats are worse than mosquitoes? This guy has some issues. He got scared by a bat when he was... he fell down a well when he was 10 and got scared by a bunch of bats. And he couldn't become Batman because he didn't have the technology for it. So he's just like, I'm going to turn them into a bomb.
Clearly a well-balanced individual. I mean, we're talking about manifest destiny for fucking bats, for Christ's sake. In the letter, he then goes on to in detail explain why this is such a good idea. Bats are faster than birds. They can carry twice their weight. You can throw them in the fucking fridge so that they go into hibernation, and that'd be a really convenient time to strap a bomb to them. You know, awesome stuff.
Cool.
I think the point I'm trying to get to is there's no way in hell this letter is making it through the screening process at the White House to make it to the president, right? Wrong. Apparently, this guy knows Eleanor Roosevelt, mails the letter directly to her, she gives it to FDR, and FDR...
How does he know Eleanor Roosevelt? And why does she read his letter and be like, yes, this makes perfect sense. Very hinged. You're a hinged individual.
FDR fucking loves it. He immediately forwards the letter to his military generals with a note of his own that says, and I quote, "This man is not a nut."
This man is not a nut. It sounds like a perfectly wild idea, but it is worth your looking into. You might reply for me to Mr. Adams' letter. It's my old-timey FDR voice.
It's a perfectly wild idea that we need to look into. And that's it. The president said we're doing it. We're fucking doing it. America's building a bat bomb because a dentist in Pennsylvania said so. All right, fast forward.
Wasn't the guy who killed Cecil the lion also from Pennsylvania? Like, he was also a Pennsylvania dentist, right?
Forward like a year and a half, they figured out how to make the bomb itself. They figured out that they're going to use the Mexican free-tailed bat because it's very fast and very strong. They figured out that they're going to use napalm instead of white phosphorus. They've figured out how to attach the incendiary device to the bat itself. All that's left to do is to test it. And on May 15th, 1943, that's exactly what they're going to do. Needless to say, everybody that knows about it's really excited. All the bigwigs are showing up. There was even a Marine Corps General, Louis DeHaven, that showed up unannounced and uninvited because, well, he's a Marine and he heard that somebody was going to be blowing shit up with bats, and that's just what Marines are into. So they start the first test. They're going to drop 250 bats with nothing attached to them just to see how the bats react to falling out of an airplane. So the bomb drops, the canister's open, the bats take off. They go like 20 miles to some ranch that's near the airfield. They're everywhere. They're in this guy's barn, they're in his attic, they're in his hay.
That poor guy.
Ugh. Okay.
That would have been, oh God, can you imagine that? Like, you have no idea this is happening, and suddenly you wake up and you're about to go and, like, feed the cows or whatever, and you're just, like, a cloud of bats just descends on your house. Can you sue the government for that? Like, that would be emotional stress. Like, absolutely. You would never go outside again. That'd be awful. Like I said, I made fun of my mom for freaking out about one bat. And I will always make fun of her for freaking out about one bat or one spider or whatever. As soon as you up that number to, like, well, with its bats, maybe 2, then I'm right there with her also. Well, unless she's there because, you know, if someone else is freaking out, my pettiness kicks in and I'm like, I gotta be cooler than that. But, like, if I'm alone, or if no one else is freaking out, then I call dibs on the freak out if there's that many freaking bats. That's so many bats. 250 bats, so many bats. Ugh.
So, test number 2. Now they're going to strap the incendiary devices to the bats, but they're going to de-weaponize them just to see how the bats behave when they're carrying their own body weight worth of explosives. So again, they drop the bomb, the canister's open, the bats take off, but they don't go nearly as far because they're over-encumbered. Instead, they decide to just infest everything on the airfield. They're in the barracks, they're in the airplane hangars, they're underneath the general's car. And then 15 minutes later, they realize that they forgot to de-weaponize them. The bats blow up and burn the entire fucking place to the ground. So the entire Army chain of command that's been in control of this project the entire time freaks out. They decide they're going to terminate the whole thing because obviously it doesn't work. And that's when that Marine Corps general that wasn't even invited, General Louis McHaven, shows up as like, no, it worked perfect. You dumbasses just forgot to de-weaponize the bats.
Yeah,
if you don't want it, the Marine Corps is going to take it over because this shit's awesome. And that's pretty much exactly what happens. The United States Marine Corps takes over the entire project and it becomes known as Project X-Ray. Why'd they call it Project X-Ray? I have no fucking idea, and neither does anybody else. I mean, to be fair, we all knew—
It sounds cool, but, like, you know what? Half the time things are just named things because they sound cool, not gonna lie. Can't fault them for that.
The Marines were going to be in charge of this at some point. I mean, their entire life motto is it's not stupid if it works, and that's exactly what this project is as a whole. So the Marines went ahead and continued testing. They ended up testing it in a mock Japanese village at Dugway Proving Ground, and what they discovered was that the average incendiary bombing run would light about 400 fires. The average bat bombing run would light about 4,700 fires, meaning that the bat bombs were 12 times more effective than a regular incendiary bomb. Okay, look, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think most of you are picking up what I'm putting down. Being 12 times more effective than regular incendiary bombs means that the bat bomb is one of the most effective and most deadly weapons of mass destruction ever created. And I know that sounds stupid, but I promise you it's true. If you were to ask most people what the deadliest bombing run of all time was, guaranteed they would probably guess Hiroshima or Nagasaki. It's a great guess. It's the only time the atomic bomb's ever been used, and it was very deadly. But it was not the deadliest. The deadliest bombing run was done on March 9th, 1945, when America firebombed Japan. More people died from that bombing run than Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. And that was done with regular incendiary bombs. So you can imagine what would happen if bat bombs were dropped, which are theoretically 12 times more effective. it would have been absolutely catastrophic. I realize that we're getting oddly serious and I apologize, but it absolutely blows my mind that in the biggest military conflict the world has ever seen, in the search for a super weapon, you had a bunch of scientists, the most brilliant minds in the world, that figured out how to split an atom in half, breaking chemical bonds, releasing an immense amount of energy and radiation and destructive force. And then you have the Marines that are like, I need a bomb-shaped colander, 1,000 bats, and some jungle jelly, and somehow the Marines managed to be more deadly. It makes no fucking sense. It's making me question everything, because my entire life I thought Batman was kind of a bitch for being scared of bats. Like, just grow a pair, grab a tennis racket, start Babe Ruth in those motherfuckers, and move on with your life. But no, as it turns out, Batman was right. Bats are absolutely terrifying, and it's all because some...
Well, provided they're strapped with explosives. And like I said, 1 or 2, not a huge problem, but like as soon as there's a whole lot of anything coming at your face, that's terrifying. Just being, I mean, yeah, if he's afraid of a single bat, I'm like, Batman, come on, there's worse. Batman, come on. But, you know, if the bats are all strapped with explosives and they're like camping out in your house and you don't know that A, they're there, or B, strapped with explosives.
Dentist taught the Marines how to turn him into a WMD, and I have no idea how to end this video. So I guess if you made it this far down this weird history rabbit hole, thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
I guess we've learned that dentists are crazy. Which, if you've seen, if you've seen Little Shop of Horrors, we already knew that. But, like, my God. How do you come up with that? Why did he hate... I really just want to know why he hates bats so much now. I want to know this dentist's backstory. What did the bats do to him? Did they also creep into his fireplace one day when he wasn't expecting them and have one of their legs snap off? Did he also get made fun of by his spouse and his 2 small children for freaking out about the bat? Because that might give him a vendetta against bats forever. Let's end them all. But let's not, because the bats, as I said before, get rid of the mosquitoes, which are the worst. Yeah, mosquitoes are worse than bats. That's my hot freaking take. Anyway. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed your shot, Alexander Soul. And if anyone else took it with us, hey, great, thanks. Thanks for taking the shot with us. It's always fun to take a shot with friends. I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.